to lots of people and do as much research as I can. Do you want me to repeat that?
No, it's alright.
That's all been recorded. So my strategy was to bring on board people that I knew who were experts in the field. So I'm used to working with experts. One expert I knew that I'd worked with very closely was Wilma Belong, who's the lead BioBlitz coordinator and a museum colleague. I knew that not only was she a really amazing scientist, I'd seen her working with people, so I knew she...
Yeah, I know, I used to miss my mouth. It's alright.
So I knew that she understood...
she was at the first aid weekend, wasn't she? We were there for her. She was great.
Yeah, she's been part of the Working Party right from the beginning, and I knew that she would have the skills and understanding and appreciation of what we are trying to do. And she's a Westie, and she just ticked lots of boxes in terms of being aligned. So I pulled her on, and then the other person I pulled on was someone who's a businessman who only works in the sustainable and organic sector, and so I knew he was really well linked to Eco Store, and I knew that he could be my conduit to understanding how to write a sponsorship document and reaching into the business community.
Yeah.
So the strategy was to bring on experts, and then then the other thing is I did some research. So I self-funded some research. I went into Japan to look at the world's biggest outdoor art sculpture project that engages audiences with environment, and also was initiated to revitalise an economically depressed region, and that's really important for this region in Henderson. That's what needs to drive activity in this area. It's things that will drive economic invigoration.
Make them kind of like, so they can see that, if the audience can see they're getting something out of it, that's what will make them come here, and that's what will give you the outcomes you want.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So I also, Naomi McCleary, whose project was also cited Grisdale Forest, so I went up to Grisdale, that's in North England, to have a look at what was going on there. I had hundreds of meetings with people. I met with the Auckland Festival people, with the TED people, so in terms of strategy it was about getting as informed as much as possible and talking about the aims of the project with as many people as possible to get buy-in and to get guidance. And then the other big strategy was, how do we address climate change? So looked at sort of the mitigation plans or the real issues that would come out, and dividing the subject into 5 topics: air, weather, food and shelter. And once we got to that point, and then the tour document, then that was our strategy. So the strategy at that point is just to keep referring back to the mission statement at every...
Do you have
So the mission statement took about 4 months to agree to, and the...
Could we have one of these?
The tour document? I can send you the tour document. So the tour document, the mission statement was, through an outdoor non-permanent public art science experience, contribute to the conversation about climate change, to raise awareness of the issues, to act as a catalyst for discussion and action at a personal, local and national level. Very ambitious, and they had only one person employed for 10 hours a week to do it. And my key KPI was to raise the funds. So I put together a budget, and I realised I needed $250,000 to do the project. So we postponed the project in the first instance. And so we went to a pilot project And I actually raised 170k,
Wow.
180k in the end, actually.
So how are you going to measure these goals? Or like, how are you so you have the mission statement and all that? Like,
Yeah.
How is it measured? Like, was it a measurable mission statement, or was it just a general?
No, the measurables. So we have key description and key. So let's see, where's the measurables would be sitting in our key purpose. We have key goals. So these should be measurables out here. We did do a SWOT actually. So this will be a 9.
Okay, so what is your SWOT?
Hang on, she's just going to.
Yeah, so the strengths and weaknesses. So in the strengths we had, the strengths was that it was a 6 hectare site with extensive outdoor areas, with an extensive indoor and covered space area, that the area had been Project Twin Streams.
What's that, the Twin Streams?
Okay, so Project Twin Streams was a result of the former Eco Art Symposium here in the 90s, which laid pretty much the policy for Waitakere Eco Arts agenda.
Yeah.
And Twin Streams was a project that actually was really similar in that it was participatory. There was a design and artist collaborative approach. The Twin Streams is the Opanuku stream, which runs through here, and then the other one that's from Henderson that joins at the falls and then goes out to the concourse. So we already had that on site, which was a legacy project that already had schools buy-in.
So is that how you got the schools? Because they were part of the Twin Streams. Did you bring on those same ones? Would you say your stakeholders would be similar to them?
Yeah. It's the Twin Streams project and the BioBlitz project, which we brought on, was definitely there was a tie-in with former legacy history there.
So you were confident enough to do that?
We definitely levered off legacy projects here and legacy relationships.
That's great.
So one of the other strategies was to be umbrellaing as many existing organisations as possible. So climate change was seen very much as joining the agenda was very much joining the dots of a whole pile of organisations that were already working in this field to just be an umbrella platform based on the how New Zealand became nuclear free. It was about bringing together all the social agencies who were working on human rights issues, social justice issues. So we had a bit of a similar mandate there.
So, for the measurables, was that there too?
So, in terms of measurables, in terms of wanting to know how many target audience and stuff like that, key goals, here we go. So, coming back to the measurables, let's have a look. Platforms of engagement.
So is this what your friend helped you make, or did you make this?
I put this together.
That's great, yeah.
So when you're saying friend, you're referring to my colleague Wilma Blom, who I brought on?
No, the one that you said that was the business.
Roger Harris? Yeah. No, he didn't help on this at all. He helped with the sponsorship document. In terms of the tour document, terms of reference document, I'd say all of the working party were influential in it. I was like the lead. Yeah. There's lots of terms of reference documents that one can refer to. I did the 10-year business plan for McCann House Trust, which was my job at the time, so I'm quite familiar with the cases and things like that.
So they handle the sponsorship?
We're not.
In terms of
Diane led it all, but she was also directed to correct people that would help her.
Yeah, there was a working party, and the working party was made up of 8 experts. So shall I? So measurables is what you want to know now is what were we aiming to do and
how are we going to get it.
So
So
we talked about strategy. So we talked about what is the project, and so we looked at the mission statement, then the strategy, and now you're wanting to know about the measurables.
SMART goals kind of thing, like,
yeah,
so
the
like
SMART
measurables.
goals.
Yeah.
So I guess we never really were that specific.
Yeah.
We had our target audiences.
Yeah,
they
that's
were
another way to
always
define it.
really, really broad. So target audiences included. Hi, do you need to talk to me?
Just for 2 seconds.
Yeah, of course, go for it.
Who said we had the key?
Al Green, who was the guy with the power cords, he said to me when I came to lock up that space that he had given the key to someone in your space, and that it had been put. Well, that's what Sophie. Yeah, that's what Sophie said.
So
the second
I
key.
don't know where it is.
So I have to ask Al again who he thinks he gave the key
definitely had
to.
our key and we returned it and it was signed back in.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd come and tell you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. See ya. Okay, Al. So our audience were intergenerational and family groups, Auckland's diverse cultural groups, local schools. So in terms of measurables, we certainly hit local schools. We probably had about a dozen local schools involved. Existing arts visitors, so we would have, I know we definitely met a lot of existing arts audiences. Existing local park users, I met a lot of them. They carried on coming. Youth currently engaged with youth programs at Corbin Estate Arts Centre, they didn't come through. Cultural creatives, well, that's just a broad term. We'll be able to get that information out of your survey. Mm-hmm. Green leading and eco warrior sector, I would say they didn't come that much. Actually, they came mostly on the BioBlitz day, but actually that audience went to the Eco Festival instead, which was running simultaneously. Change agents, that's our Generation Zero, who we try to work really strongly with. They didn't come either. And I think I know why they didn't need to come, because they already are working in parallel organisations. The thing is, our project reached all of those audiences, not necessarily on site, but through the sort of online
conversation,
platforms.
and that's what your main objective was, to get people talking about it.
Yeah.
So that's all your stakeholders, or that's just the audience?
Those are the audience. So stakeholders, that's a whole nother huge list. We've got that, and stakeholders. Stakeholders, page 5. Good thing I brought this along.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I can give this to you, actually.
Yeah, that'd be hugely
So our
appreciated.
key stakeholders it's actually in the I've got a map that is the stakeholders, and it's an appendix, which I haven't. Here's one of the appendix, so maybe. Well, there's aims and objectives. Yes, I know what it looks like. That here is the big list. Yeah, so we've got a sort of
table
flow chart.
Great, we love flow charts.
But this is which hasn't been included here. But the key
the main
stakeholders,
ones are the relationships.
So the key relationship, the working party representatives. I've mentioned a couple of them. I mentioned Wilma Blom, and I've mentioned who was the BioBlitz lead organiser and a science from Auckland Museum, and I've mentioned Roger Harris, who was the business mentor. Then there's Melissa Lang, who's she's an artist and a arts researcher and academic, and she's also the faux local arts broker. Andrew Clifford is the director at Te Uru Gallery. Riwi Spraggan is the representative of the local iwi. Naomi McCleary, she's an arts advocate, and it was her idea.
Right.
And Martin Sutcliffe is the director here.
Oh, so it was her idea, and did you help her bring it? So how were you? So how did she come to you? Or?
Yeah, so she, so her and I've worked together for a very long time. So she was the chair of Corbin Estate Arts Centre and employed me as the program manager. She was also the chair of McCann House Trust and employed me as the executive director. And between those two organisations, I worked for 8 years at Auckland Museum as the public program manager. It was while Naomi and I were working together at McCann House Trust that one of the artists that came through her research project was on New Zealand's nuclear free status and how that came to be in her practices on climate change. And it was out of a conversation there that Naomi McCleary, who's still a trustee here at Corbin Estate, went, we should be doing a project to activate the grounds at Corbin Estate Arts Centre, Agenda Climate Change. And based on the Eco Arts Forums that she did here in the 90s, which brought artists and designers together, she wanted to bring artists and scientists together. And so she said, Di, do you want to do this project? I mean, yeah. So together we brought together this working party, and then basically I program directed for it.
Right.
And so I came up with a lot of basically the direction of the project, but always, and they were the steering committee, you know, always getting their buy-in, seeing what they want out of it. We had a big branding session led by Elizabeth Vanderveld, where Reeve Spraggan, for instance, used the notion of cast the net, see what we catch, which became a project on site. So art partners Jacinda Armour from Pacific Arts Centre and Elizabeth Vanderveld, then the science partners who were brought on through Wilma, so Niwa, Plant and Food, but we ended up losing their input. The different, there's some
you don't need to go through them all. We can.
Artists, of course, independents, we brought them on. Then local government, environmental groups. So all these people came to the forums. So we had a big forum. All the funders, of course, subject experts, and then trying to hit up into government, but we didn't get that level this year. Universities, we did get the universities involved. We did get Auckland University and AUT and Unitec, and we got a lot of schools involved. So your timeline.
So it started off with obviously the idea. Then it went to
the forum, key stakeholders, and then the forum. So the forum was an open brief for everyone to bring their expertise together. We put everyone on a bus because I have this idea that when you're on a road trip, you have conversations that you wouldn't otherwise have. A really interesting way to bring people together. I've attended a lot of conferences and forums, and what you really miss is not having the sideways conversations. You have all these presentations where you listen and then you really want to talk with all these other experts in the field, and you get these 5 minutes over tea breaks or lunch breaks. So I really wanted to reinvent that option to create sideways
and
conversations.
And you invited all those stakeholders?
Yeah, and put them all on a bus, a double-decker bus, and we drove from Waitakere Ranges all the way to the concourse, going through urban, suburban, former fruit baskets of Auckland as an orateur, where we used to grow the food for the city, down to the dump, which is on the edge of the harbour. So it was an amazing sort of slice of a city in a climate of change.
That's perfect, because it shows them
and it just brought up amazing conversations. And that was where we went, so if there's 50 dwellings in this area and they each produce a bag of rubbish each, and a bag of rubbish is 4.64 kilos of carbon emission, which is 250,000 carbon emissions. But what is that? What does that mean? And it was the artist Bridie, who was given weather, who worked with Anthony Fowler, who's the head of environmental studies at university, that came up with the 10 tonnes of coal as a representative visual concept to help understand what our carbon emissions are. So out of that forum we got these teams that started working together, and in fact we just had a session with the air quality scientists from NIWA and the Air4 collective on their project Air, and they said, you know, Diane took us down this wandering path, and a lot of the process was like that, and we'd stop at a view, you know, and they had these epiphany moments where they started getting ideas for the sculpture and the participation. How would you get people to participate? Because people, you can give them facts, but you need to somehow unlock your curiosity and your desire for change or understanding. So we want to do that through making, so through a sense of play or storytelling. Yeah.
Cool. And then is that how you got your sponsors then, from the forum, or?
From the forum we got our project. So we had the concept, and I started going for a lot of funds on concept alone, but that was a real struggle. It was only Creative New Zealand, for instance, wouldn't give us funding on concept, particularly because it was also a science. There was a strong science and a strong sort of communications rather than just art development. But once we got some key projects, we managed to get funding for one of the projects from Creative New Zealand. So they really want to see nuts and bolts, like how is the artist practice being developed, and where and what, before they would give their funding. So different funders have different criteria that we had to meet, and so every funding application had to be rewritten to pick up an element of the project to meet the criteria of that particular funder.
So, sorry, sidetracking from the timeline now, but sponsors, so who were your sponsors?
We ended up getting no sponsors on board, we only got funders. So, sponsors really want to know how many people are coming, and because, well, they probably picked, it wasn't very commercial, you know, it wasn't a big name band in a well-known venue. So sponsors immediately would have picked up that we were going to struggle to get our audience, which proved we did. We really struggled to get our audience.
This funder doesn't need any promotions, and you didn't put up the banner or anything.
And so the sponsor would have been...
There was no sponsors, there's only funders, so...
They don't need anything.
The sponsor they were offered naming rights and would have been put up on a banner if we'd got a sponsor, but we didn't get one, so we didn't have to put their name up. Well, the people who supplied the funds, they do need to be acknowledged, and they were acknowledged. They were acknowledged
How did you acknowledge them?
By putting their logo on all of our flyers and banners and on the website, and thanking them at public forum.
So were there lots of grants in the funders? Or they actual just funds that you...
Grant.
Yeah,
so we got a grant, we got 40k from Foundation North. We got 40k from the Trust Community Foundation.
So much.
We got 20k. Yeah, we got 20k from a regional Auckland Council Regional Arts an event fund. We got 35k from Auckland Council Sustainability Fund. We got 5k from Waitakere Rangers Community Local Board. We got 2,000 from the Faux Local Board. I think that's it.
Yeah.
In essence.
Yeah. So it's okay. So back to the timeline. So then you got the project and the concepts.
And we had the forum.
Did you get the location by then?
We already had the locations. We wanted.
So you had the location
more
before
locations.
the foreign.
The location was always this location at Coburn Estate was at
the very start, the idea.
Yeah, it was at the start. It was one of the drivers to use the site for the project. and Te Uru is the second site. We want to use other sites in West Auckland, but we didn't get the funds to use all of those other sites. We did a particular fund for a specific project to use the waterfront by the concourse, but we didn't get that fund for that project. Hopefully later this year.
Okay, and so that was kind of it then. So like after the forum, you kind of had your artists, your scientists, the location, the idea was there. So then after that was just implementing it, really, wasn't it?
Then it was the event plan and rolling out the event plan.
So what were your channels that you promoted the event through?
Oh, wow, that's good because I've got this document which I think has got most of it on.
I'm glad you brought your paperwork.
Yeah, so we brought on Elephant Publicity to do the PR for us. And I know it's in here. And they really struggled to get editorial for us because we had no hero imagery. And why we had no hero imagery was it was the first event of its kind. And there was a lot of existing climate change imagery, but we didn't want to use that. The first buy-in they got was from North South magazine with an article on Gabby's project, and Gabby was the artist who was working with the Antarctic research scientists, and she actually went down to Antarctica, so it was a really good story. So North South picked that up and got a double spread in there. I didn't realise, but we got into Kiora magazine as well, so I didn't know that. And we got into Northwest magazine, we got into Verve, we got into Fringe. Okay, I've received this document and it's not 100% accurate. We got into New Zealand Herald twice, one with a Q&A with one of the scientists in Canvas magazine. Western Leader covered the Roots project, which was on food that they did.
So your
with
main
the
media,
Henderson.
your main channel was print.
Okay, sorry.
Is that?
Well, I would say we got a lot of radio. We got onto the Wallace show on on Radio New Zealand, and onto that was with Naomi McCleary being interviewed by Wallace, and we got onto Radio New Zealand Concert with the Roots Collective was interviewed. We had an interview on 95 BFM, and we also got TV1 coverage, news coverage with Gabby's project.
Awesome.
But we also got into Radio Live, so this document's not up to date. We got an interview with Radio Live, and out of that, that was a really good interview actually.
Did you have any social media?
We had our website, so we built our website from scratch and started to reach an average of 1,000 people a week.
Wow.
Also, of course, we used the Te Uru Facebook and the Corbin Estate Facebook. Both of them, we've got about 3,000 followers. We it was a Unitec practicum student that started running our Instagram, and actually I don't know what her reach was through the Instagram. And we tried Twitter, but we didn't have the resources to roll out
Instagram's
Twitter
hard as well. It's only at the time people are on, otherwise you're going to be on it all the time. It's ridiculous.
The other promo that we had was one of the practicum students rolled out a flash mob, although we ended up cancelling that. We also had 200 pencils with the website on it and distributed that to people. We had 1,000 flyers or 2,000 flyers printed, and we distributed them around libraries and community centres and cafes, and also paid someone to distribute them in letterboxes around here. And we had posters that went up into libraries and cafes and places like that, 100 posters.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot of...
Yeah, so we tried to get it out there. There was also the Unitec on-site promotion with the on-site sort of colour in the cartoon board. What other promo did we do?
And so...
Yeah, that's it, I think.
And then other event planning, so all the promotions, but then also...
The other event was that we actually had a second forum.
Oh yeah.
Which was here on site, and we had really amazing keynote speakers at that, including Jim Salinger and Nikki Hare. Of course, we have our Facebook, our website as well, which is sort of the holding.
I was going to say,
space,
will that be on the website, all the keynote speakers?
Yeah, we haven't, all the information is there, but we haven't edited any of the footage yet, because we haven't had the resources.
Yeah,
but I think that's one of the jobs that your practicum students are going to edit down that footage for us.
Great.
Right. Oh, but actually the other way we advertised it was to all the local schools.
Yeah.
And through having all the schools participating.
How many schools do you think there were?
Oh, well, I'm just building that. I would say there's about 15 to 20 schools who are involved in the project. I'd say there's 10 with the AIR project. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 to 15 schools. Yeah, I'm finding that out because I'm not sure which
All the
schools were
local
over.
ones.
And also one in Wellington and one in Christchurch.
Oh wow, that's cool. You got it down that far as well. I remember you saying something about, about how you went to another country and you saw that they had like composting. Like, are you going any further with that?
Well, I have presented a Pecha Kucha I presented temp as a Pecha Kucha at a Sustainability Network event, and there were several council people there as well as the Eco Festival people, and I mentioned there about why haven't we got roadside compost pickup yet. So I guess, it's about many people with many voices will add up to something significant. So I'm just part of that.
Do you think TEM will happen
generating
again?
information. Yeah, TEM is definitely happening again.
So next year or?
The following year we're going to make it a biennial event. Biennale, rather. Biennale with a forum in between. So we're already planning our next forum event, and it looks like it will be, it's going to be an opportunity where it looks like we're going to bring our scientists on first rather than our artists. We're going to bring on our, we're going to bring on our scientists, and we're going to ask for expressions of interest from artists to work with the scientists.